Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we'll be completing in today's video. This fun spring trees video, similar to a fall trees video that we did last fall that was really awesome, really fun. And everyone seemed to like it, so I figured I would make a spring version, so here it is. So if you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra tutorials over on Patreon, so if you want to join that, it's linked in the description below. If you sign up, you get access to exclusive tutorials that I post a couple times a month and sneak peeks of all of our weekly YouTube tutorials as well. Otherwise, before we get started on today's video, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just download the file to your iPad and then either double tap it or click on it and click open in Procreate, and it will automatically pop the color palette into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. Other than that, there are no custom brushes or anything. We will make a brush for the trees. It's just a slight variance of a standard Procreate brush, so we'll do that when we get to that point in the video. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with today, so let's just go ahead and get started. So first we'll create our background, then the ground that our trees will be on, our trees themselves, and then the last little details, the sun, the flowers, the grass, and like the butterflies and bees. So let's just go ahead and start with our background. So let's see, we're just going to go on layer 1 here, and grab our first color on the first row of the color palette and drag and drop it onto our canvas to fill the whole screen. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and then on the same layer, we're just going to switch our color to the second color on the top row, slightly darker, and we'll just add some texture with this. So for our brush, we're going to grab the Burnt Tree Charcoals brush under the Charcoals category. The opacity of my brush is set to 100, and then the size, I'm going to set it to like 30, pretty high. And we're going to just kind of go all over the background with this very lightly. So if you need to change the opacity of your brush, go ahead and do so if you push pretty hard. But we're just going to go pretty lightly, add some texture, just kind of all over, just a little bit here. Awesome. Now we'll go ahead and draw our ground that our trees will sit on. So to do that, we'll go to our layer menu, add a new layer above this one. We're going to turn on our 2D grid assisted drawing to help us get some perfectly horizontal lines. So to do that, we'll go to our gear icon under canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, click edit drawing guide. This will be the 2D grid that we use, so make sure it's set to that. No need to adjust any of the details of it. I'm going to lower my line thickness a little bit so we don't have to see them so dark. And then I'm going to turn on assisted drawing. Go ahead and click done. Go back to our layer menu. This layer now should say assisted on it. If it does not, just click on it and turn on drawing assist. And we are going to go with these next 3 green colors now. So we'll start with the darkest one, the third one on the top row. And the brush that we're going to use for this now is going to be the dry ink brush under the inking category. So find that. My opacity on the brush is set to 100 and my size will set to 20. Okay, I'm going to go a little ways up, maybe like a third. Right about here, I'm going to start pretty close to the edge and just start drawing, and as you draw across, you'll notice it just follows that perfectly straight horizontal line. So I ended pretty close to the edge on both sides. Then from there, I'm just going to pick up my brush a few times and just draw kind of a few more back and forth like this. I'm not going down too far, but when I do go down a little bit, I'm going to just get a little skinnier. Something kind of like that to start. Then we're going to stay on this layer. We're just going to switch to our next color, the fourth one on the top row, a little bit lighter, and kind of do the same thing. Just kind of create another layer of that. Kind of same thing. We'll just kind of go down, get a little skinnier as we go down. Never leaving a big gap like that, but like this is fine. And then one more lighter green still, the fifth one on the top row, and we'll do that one more time. Add a little bit of this lighter green now in. Just kind of want a good variety showing, so if you need to go back, with either of your other greens to kind of add that in, go ahead and do so, but just something kind of like this. Now we'll go ahead and draw our trees. So we're going to start with our pink trees. So on our layer menu, let's go ahead and add a new layer. Okay, so we're going to start with our first pink color, the first one on the second row. The brush that we're going to use, we're going to kind of create it really quick. So if you did my fall trees tutorial back in the fall, which was kind of similar to this with fall colors, you might have this brush already, but let's go ahead and make it again just in case. So under the organic category, it's the snow gum brush, but we're going to change it a little bit. So find the snow gum brush and make a duplicate of it. So slide to the left and hit duplicate. That way we can leave that one alone. Whichever new one pops up, go ahead and click on that to open up our options here. So we are first going to go under color dynamics, and we don't want the color to change at all. So we're going to drop these all down to 0. So this just means that our brush is changing color as we move it. We don't want that. So that's all set to none. Then we're going to go under regular dynamics, and we're going to drop the opacity also down to 0%. So that the opacity doesn't change either, because if we have it up way far, then it's like it changes opacity when our brush, is active, and we don't want that either. So we want the whole thing to just be pretty stark. So set that to none and then click done. And now we're using our new snow gum brush. Let's go ahead and set our size to like 20%. And the brush is pressure sensitive, and the harder you push, the bigger the petals get, like this. The lighter you push, the smaller they get. So we just want kind of like a medium pressure. And so I'm just going to, again, start with the pink tree. So there's going to be one on each side. They're going to be a little taller than our purple tree in the middle. So I'm going to start maybe like a third of the way down on my canvas for this right one here. I'm just going to start there. I'm going to kind of push again, like kind of medium pressure. And I'm just going to kind of make like a little 3-pronged piece like this at the top. So that's going to be the top of my tree. Then I'm going to go down into the left a little bit and just kind of make another little like just chunk. I'm going to go maybe down a little bit from that and make like another chunk, kind of like going like this. So these are just creating different pieces of our tree. Okay, then I'm going to go down and make maybe one more. And now I'm still a little ways from my ground, so we can still get a good trunk going there. And we can adjust this if we need to, but essentially I have these like 4 different chunks going. Okay, then I'm just going to kind of tap around lightly in between them so that they're not so separated. Kind of tap around the outside of them a little bit here and there to kind of throw some more pieces off them as well. Something like this. Okay, so on the same layer, we'll add our other tree over here. So I'm going to start probably at about the same point on the top. So I'm going to go over there and do a similar thing. So maybe, again, I'll kind of make a bigger chunk to start with, kind of like a weird shape, maybe like this. Then maybe I'll go out here and make like another kind of blob. Maybe next to that, like another blob. Maybe another blob further down. And another just like small section there. So maybe we'll do like 5 this time. So something like that. Again, tap in between them to kind of connect them. Now I want them to be just a little bit more similar in size. So this one's a little bit smaller. Yours might not have ended up this way, but this one ended up a little smaller. I want to make this one just a little bit smaller with it. So I'm going to grab my selection tool on freehand, turn off color fill, and I'm going to select around this one. Arrow tool on uniform, I'm just going to downsize it a little bit and just kind of replace it there so we're kind of a little bit more similar to our other one. Make sure there's like a little gap from the edge of our canvas. Select the other one and move it around if you need to also, or resize it or anything. Okay, but that's looking good. So we should just have like a little room in the middle. Our purple tree will cover up some of this, but that's okay. Okay, now let's go ahead and add some dimension to these. So on our layer menu, click on this layer and turn on alpha lock. We're going to use the same brush. We're just going to switch our colors a couple times. So we have a darker pink and a lighter pink on our color palette next. So let's start with the darker one, second one on the second row. Same size even on our brush, and we're just going to go lightly around like the bottom edges of these sections to kind of create some like shadows and stuff. So you can do them through the sections as well too, like that, but mainly just sticking towards the bottom. Same thing over here, just kind of towards the bottoms, again pretty lightly. Awesome. And then we'll switch to our lighter pink color, third one on the second row, and kind of stick towards the top now. So the top sections, to add kind of some highlight dimension through those. Awesome. Okay, and that's it for our pink trees. Again, we can still move them around later if we need to. We'll just kind of see how we end up. So let's go to our layer menu. Let's add a new layer above this one and we'll make our purple tree now. So same kind of idea, just one purple tree in the middle. We'll start with our first purple color, the fourth one on the second row. Same brush. And for our purple tree, we're going to do kind of a pretty like loose oval, I would say. So I'm just going to start kind of right in the top here, right at the top of this, what will be this tree, which is going to be a little lower than our pink one was. So maybe right about there. I'm going to start there. I'm just going to go kind of straight down through the middle, kind of like roughly where this pink one is as well. And then we'll just kind of branch off from there. So then I'm just going to kind of work my way like horizontally in little sections, kind of all the way down, getting a little wider as we get like towards the bottom. So kind of something like this, just kind of bring it together, but we want some good little like gaps through the middle, like so. Kind of fluff it up around the edges, tapping around there. And yeah, it should look something like this. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing that we did before with our dimensions. So click on this layer on our layer menu and turn on alpha lock. Grab our darker purple color, the one right next to it, fifth one on the second row. And we're going to lightly go in and just create some layers here. So we'll start at the bottom. We'll for sure do a little shadow down there. Then we're just going to kind of go up and create some more layers. So just kind of roughly, just kind of wherever you want to create some kind of shadowy layers throughout this as well. So maybe something like this. Then we'll go in with our lighter color, next one in line, sixth one on the second row, and I'll start at the top and add some kind of highlight there, and then again add some highlight through these other sections as well, wherever we didn't, the opposite of where we hit them with the shadow, so we get some good dimension. Okay, and then that is it for our purple tree. So I like the way this looks. The only thing I'll say is I want to see maybe a little bit more of my pink trees. So I'm going to go to my layer menu. I'm going to go back to my pink layer. So again, only do this if you need to, but feel free to move anything around. You can resize your purple one, but I don't hate the size of my purple one. I just, would like to see a little bit more of my pink one. So I'm going to grab my pink layer, grab it with my arrow tool. I'm going to set it to freeform. I'm going to squish it to the left just a little bit till I see a little bit more of this pink one on the left. Then I'm going to grab my selection tool, kind of go right down the middle so I can select this right pink one. Turn your purple layer off if you need to, but I'm pretty confident that that gap is right there. Grab it with my arrow tool and I'm going to move it back to the right a little bit so I can see a little bit more of that as well. So just feel free to move anything around, move them up or down if you need to. I might move both of mine up just a little teeny bit. Okay, now we can go ahead and move on. We can go ahead and add our trunks and branches to these now. So to do that, we'll go to our layer menu, and that's actually going to be right above layer 1, below our ground layer. So add a layer right in there. Grab our trunk color, the first one on the last row, and we are going to switch to the Studio Pen under the inking category now. So find that. I have this opacity at 100, the size set to like 15. And I'm going to start with my middle tree. I'm going to start right roughly in the center of it, kind of towards the top here, and I'm going to start my trunk. I'm going to draw a perfectly vertical line through to my ground. Hold it down until it turns perfectly straight, and then touch your finger on the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Okay. Then I'm going to start roughly at that same point. It's kind of hidden with my branches here. But I'm going to start roughly there and do the same thing. Draw a line and go slightly to the right this time so it's thicker at the bottom. Hold it down until it turns perfectly straight and then let it go. Click this edit line button at the top if you need to like adjust it at all. And then same thing, I'm going to start at the same point and go to the left a little this time to kind of widen the trunk again there at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to connect it at the bottom so that I can fill these two sections in like so. And that is the start of my trunk. Now for this tree, we're just going to kind of, wherever we can see some branches, we'll throw some in. So it's pretty covered up, but let's just kind of fake some. So I'm going to start towards the top here, like maybe like where this shadow is, we'll have a branch kind of coming down off of that. Again, can't really see it, but I'm just kind of mimicking the shape of it behind my leaves. If you can see it pretty good, great. The main thing we want to do is make sure it gets a little wider towards the trunk. So same thing, I'll kind of create a fake branch here. And then maybe another one like here. You can have some like going off of it, going out further. Same thing over here. Okay. And now these next ones we'll be able to see. So same thing here. I'm going to start like here. I'm going to kind of go in, do another one and kind of thicken it up at the base. Thicken it up quite a bit. Okay, then same thing over here. Thicken that one up at the base. Okay, and then again, maybe have like another one coming off of that or something like that. Okay, so that is that one. We'll do a similar thing for the other two now. Let's go ahead and add them on a new layer though, just in case we need to adjust them at all. So layer menu, new layer. Okay, we'll start on this one now and we'll again draw our perfectly straight vertical line to start. So I'm going to start roughly at the top here in the center. Draw my vertical line, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Okay, and we don't want it going underneath our green here, so I'm just going to grab my eraser and erase that a little bit. So if yours ever extends past the green, just erase it till we're right within that green area. Pen tool again, and now we'll widen it. So I'm going to start roughly at that same point. Go a little to the right, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight. Same point, go a little to the left, hold it down. Awesome. Connect it at the bottom, fill them in. Okay, that is a good start. And now we'll do kind of a similar thing. So the pink one, we have a little bit more space in everything, or mine does at least, so we can kind of see the branches a little bit more. So again, I'm going to start towards the top. I'm going to start like right here and say that a branch like ends right here. I'm going to come down, connect it, come down, connect it a little wider at the base. Same thing on the other side. Widen it at the base. Maybe make a little piece coming off that we can kind of see. Okay, there's another one right here. If you need to, again, feel free to turn off your purple layer if that's helpful to you, just so you can see a little bit better. I'm just going to go ahead and turn that trunk off as well, but we're still on our new trunk layer. Okay, same thing. I'm going to start kind of right in the middle of this one and say that that one comes to meet our main trunk, widen it at the base there. And then kind of same thing, maybe a couple branching off of that. This one here as well. Widen it at the base. Couple coming off of that. And then same thing here. So something like that for that one. Okay, next tree we'll do the same thing. Let's start with our vertical line. So roughly in the center at the top, vertical line to our ground, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, widen it, so one to the right a little bit, just hold it down. Other side, hold it down. Okay, make sure it didn't go past your green. If it did, erase it, connect it at the bottom, fill in each side, and we'll do our same thing. So just kind of wherever these seem to connect, let's go ahead and draw some branches, fill those in, widen them at the base, add a few coming off of them if necessary. Okay, so something like that for this left one. Let's go ahead and turn our purple tree back on with its tree trunk. Make any other adjustments if you need to. Otherwise, we're almost done with our trees. We're just going to add a little bit more to our trunks. We're just going to add a quick texture layer to them. So to do that, once everything's in place, I'm going to go to my layer menu and snap my tree trunk layers together. So just those two layers down there onto one layer. Click on it and turn on Alpha Lock, and we'll add some texture now with our next color in line, the second one on the bottom row. Switch to our burnt tree brush again that we used on our background under the charcoals category. I'll drop the size a little bit to like 10%, and we'll just kind of lightly go over these to add some good texture to them, just all over wherever we can see. Awesome. Now we can start adding some stuff to the sky and the ground. So let's go ahead and do our sun first in the sky. So on our layer menu, let's go ahead and add that right above our tree branches. Let's grab our yellow sun color, the sixth one on the top row. Let's grab our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. And we are just going to draw a nice perfect circle in the sky. Whatever size your brush is fine. Draw a perfect circle. Hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth. Touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. Set a good, pretty small size, and then fill it in. If you need to move it or adjust the size, you can grab it with your arrow tool on Uniform and adjust the size, move it around. I'm going to put it just slightly off center here towards the top of my canvas above my trees. And we did put it behind our tree layers, so if yours end up like behind a few leaves, that's totally fine as well. Now we're just going to add a little texture to it by actually using our eraser on it. So let's open up our eraser menu, and we're going to set our eraser also to the burnt tree brush under the charcoals category like we did for our background. Set the size of that to like 20%, and I'm just going to lightly erase a teeny tiny bit of this sun with this texture. Awesome. Now let's go ahead and move on to the ground. So we're going to add some flowers first. So to do that, let's just add a new layer above our sun layer so we're below our ground layer. Grab our lightest green color, the fifth one on the top row. Grab our dry ink brush under the inking category. So switch back to that. Set the size to maybe 15%. I'm going to zoom in here, and we're just going to first create some stems and some leaves. So I'm going to start maybe just next to one of my trees here, and I'm going to create a good vertical line. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Not too tall, but maybe something about like this. I'm going to create some leaves on that, just some really quick, simple leaves. Okay, I'll go over, maybe make another one, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen. Maybe set a slightly different height. Leaves again. Maybe I'll do one on the right side of this tree. Leaves again. Okay, so that's what I have so far. Maybe I'll do one like more towards the middle over here so they're a little more scattered. Maybe I'll do one kind of close to that, so they don't look so like perfectly spaced and stuff. And then again, I'll do one more on the edge on the other side of this tree, if you have room or if you want to. So I have 6 across, so feel free to do however many you would like to. Then we're going to go ahead and make the flower parts now. So we'll just stay on the same layer. We're just going to switch our colors now. We're going to use the darkest and lightest paint colors. So let's start with the darker one, the second one on the second row. And let's go ahead and I'm just going to do, let's see, I'll start with my farthest left one, and I'm just going to make a tulip shape. So just kind of a 3-pronged flower, like so. So rounded at the bottom, then a round side, a bigger middle, another round side. So that's my kind of tulip shape. Okay, I'm going to do the one right next to it as well. So again, that one, kind of a bigger middle, smaller side. Okay, then maybe I'll skip and I'll do this one. Then maybe I'll skip and do the far right one as well. So we'll have like 4 of the darker and 2 of the lighter. That is what I'm going to do, but you do whatever you wish. Okay, then I'll switch to my lighter pink, the third one on the second row, and we'll do the other 2 with this lighter color. Like so. So those are our flowers. Let's go ahead and add some grass in front of and around them. So on our layer menu, add another new layer. And we're going to do our lighter 2 green colors. So the fourth one on the second row we'll start with. We are going to use our dry ink brush still. Let's drop our size a little bit to like 10% so we get some pretty skinny lines, or lower the size more if you need to, depending on how hard you push. I'm going to start on the left side here, and I'm just going to start and draw some really quick lines for my grass, like so. Always starting from the bottom so we get like a tapered top. So we'll do a good layer with this, and then we will go through and do another layer with the lighter green. So just go nice across all the way with this one, varying heights, varying like angles, some together, some kind of by themselves, whatever works. Once we get to the other side, I'm going to switch to my lighter green now, the fifth one on the top row, and just kind of go back the other way with this so we get another good layer of grass. Okay, then lastly, we're just going to add some bees and butterflies to our picture. So let's go ahead and do our bees first. They'll be by our flowers. So let's add a new layer on our layer menu and grab our bee color, the yellow color that we used for our sun, sixth one on the top row. Same dry ink brush is fine. And I'm just going to grab a few spots and make a little bee. So I'm just going to do kind of a slanted oval like this. Then I'll move on and pick another one, another spot. So maybe I'll do one like over here, kind of above this flower. Kind of at another angle there. And then maybe we'll do one more like on the edge over here. So I'll just do 3. Okay, on our layer menu, click on this layer, turn on alpha lock, and grab our next color in line, 7th one on the top row, and this will be used for our stripes. So I'll zoom in on each one and just create some quick kind of curvy stripes. Lower your brush size if you need to, but I'm just pushing pretty light to get them kind of curvy and thin. So something like that for each of our bees. We're leaving them pretty simple just because they're kind of far away. Then we'll add some butterflies as well. So on our layer menu, let's add a new layer. We're going to make those in our purple color. So we're going to use our lightest purple color, the 6th one on the second row, and we'll make a few quick butterfly shapes. So I'll pick another spot down here maybe, and we'll start with like the top. So the top's going to be like a heart. Then the bottom's going to be a smaller heart in the opposite direction. So something like that. Okay, let's kind of move over. Maybe I'll for sure put one on the left side here where there's nothing yet. So same thing, big heart to start. Smaller upside down heart. Okay. And then maybe we'll do one more kind of in here. And then we'll add the bodies to them. So to do that, we'll just stay on the same layer. We'll grab our darker purple color, the 4th one on the second row, slightly darker than our first color was, and we'll just go through each one. And I'm just going to do a quick line through the middle to create its body. It kind of sticks up through the top and the bottom just a little bit, not holding it down or anything. So once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and go to my gear icon under canvas, turn off my drawing guide so we don't have to see those lines anymore. We didn't really use them again, but if you want to move everything down now that we're all done, you can do so. So like everything looks good. It's just everything's a little closer to the top than the bottom. So I kind of just want to recenter it a little bit better. So on my layer menu, I'm just going to select all of my layers. So I'll select one, slide right on all the other ones to select them also, not including our layer one that has our blue background on it, but everything else. Grab that with our arrow tool, and then I'm just going to move it straight down a little ways till it looks a little bit more centered to me, a little bit more even on the top, bottom, and left and right sides. Awesome. Once that's done, if you want to move anything else around, I might move my sun up a little bit higher. Feel free to do so. Otherwise, once that's done, that is it for our drawing today. So I hope that you had fun. I hope that you like the way that yours turned out. I hope that you maybe learned something new. This is one of my favorite drawings to do. I love drawing trees and stuff. I love drawing grass. That was lots of fun. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss out on any of my future tutorials. And if you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.